Good morning. I hope everybody's doing well today. I hope you're feeling vibrant. Hope you got that deep breath. Hope you got a hug from somebody you love. If not, I hope you hugged them in your mind. Hope everybody's feeling well, feeling grateful. Got some things in the charts we got to be looking at today. Some stuff going on with Coinbase, some delistings of some altcoins. Is it any of the coins that you hold? When's that delisting going to happen? Bitcoin pushed up at a little pump. Got rejected right at the level. We talked about it yesterday afternoon. We're going to talk a little bit, obviously, a lot more about it today. We're also going to be talking about SEC losing a bunch of the lawyers on the case. Is everybody fed up? Is there something else going on? When is the XRP appeal case in court? It's going to happen right around the halving. We got a lot to talk about today. Great charts, a lot of things that we're going to be looking at. So everybody get involved. Hope everybody's feeling well. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. Join us here in our community if you haven't yet. We gave away 4 different wonderful gifts, prizes yesterday with BitLab Pro, as well as a Trading Stack 3-month memberships. So when we have these giveaways, the way you enter is heading over to @Academy BitLab and retweeting those daily tweets with the show promos that we have in there. Let people know that where they can come and find that good, unbiased, balanced view on the market. Learn the tools, strategies, skills, tips, and tricks. How do we navigate this market? Hope you're all feeling well. We're gonna be getting going here in just a little bit, so let's vibe with the tunes. Let's get involved in the chat, and I'll be coming back at you here in a minute. Curious, everybody in the room, how many of you watch just the morning stream? How many of you primarily prefer the afternoon stream? How many of you watch both? I know you can't be here all the time, but I'm appreciative every time you're able to show up and be here, part of the community in the stream. I appreciate each and every one of you. Big love to everybody. I'm really loving doing these afternoon streams so I can come back at you and focus just on TA, just on charts, just on setups. That's what that afternoon's for. That afternoon slot, 3 p.m. Eastern time. Hope to see more of you there as we move along. So we got 47 people in the room. We got 29 likes. Everybody in the room right now, hit that like button. Everybody here that's watching pre-stream, especially, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We have broken that $9,000 mark. So shout out. This roll call time. Roll call. Everybody throw in favorite emoji and 2 altcoins that you'd like to see. Along with that, once you post that in, also I want to see where are you tuned in from? What city, what state, what country, and where are you specifically at? Do you have the phone in your pocket and you're listening in while you're sitting at work? Are you driving down the freeway, tuned into crypto? Are you sitting on the toilet? Are you making breakfast? Are you making dinner? Are you sitting on the front porch with your dog sitting next to you? What are you doing? Where are you at? Let's see where everybody's at around the world, and also what you're doing at the moment while you're tuned in here. Take a moment, take a break from what you're doing. Just drop a comment here in the chat. Drop a comment down below if you're watching this at some later point. And also, if you're not tuned in over here at youtube.com/@BitLab Academy on the BitLab stream, make sure you head over here because I know this gets streamed to multiple spots. A big love to everybody. Looking forward to this stream. Let's go ahead and go through this roll call. I see all you guys and gals, he's and she's. Let's see who's in the house. We got JS, VVS Crypto, Alexandra G, a mellow fellow, always mellow, always a fellow. Total Clinic Solutions, Mike Volmer, Glenn, Crypto Curly Floyd, what's up? Matthew Barnes, Crimson Caravan Company, Granny's Garden, Jeremy Lister, Randall Dance. Randall Dance, just so you know, our main merch guy is out at Rare Evo right now, so we've had to put a little, not a delay, but there's a little bit of a pause before we send out that prize that you got, but it is in process. Note that. You're on my mind. Brad Guidell, how you doing, my friend? Sawtooth Hiker, Tenacious B, Rokoshi No Dinero, best name in crypto. Take Profits. It's a good name. It's a good reminder. I'm George too. Who else we got in the house? Hefe, how you doing, my friend? Anthony Trelanes, Brett Purbles? Brett Purbles? I like that name. What's up? Let's see. Corey Tweedy, how you doing? Affamix, what's up? Mike J. Brian King. Maybe a Band-Aid. Charles Davis. Shout out to every one of you that's here on a daily basis. I appreciate you. I love you. I love this community we're building. Being here together on a daily basis. Breaking down these charts. Breaking down what's going on in the news, in the charts, in the setups, in the signals, in the indicators. Love each and every one of you. JT, how you doing? I'm not sure who this Kelly person is with the E at the end, but I suppose they're a nice person as well. Karen Swigart Harris, how you doing, my friend? CL, what's up? Typo on my last name. I wonder what is it? Perbles? Is that what it is? V Slim. I need some V Slim because I'm getting V thick. Tell you what, my entire adult life before the pandemic, I was about 182, 187 pounds. I kind of oscillate between. I'm not gonna lie, pandemic slowed me down. My metabolism went on vacation. I'm roughly hitting. I'm down now since I moved to Atlanta, but I was about 220, 225. I became big boned there for a little bit. Slimming back down now that I'm eating healthy, living in my own spot. Not a guest somewhere. The Biomex, what's up? Andrew Brits, yo. Derek Harris, what up? Nico, what's up? Is that Puerto Rico? Is that the flag's so small. What's up? How you doing? It's like your muscles are on fire. The silly face, I guess, is what that says. Shout out to everybody in the house. We're gonna have a great stream today. Let's get this going. Throw a 1 in chat if you're feeling grateful. Throw a 2 in chat if you want to make some damn money. That's what we're here for. But why do we want to make money? We want to raise capital for our livelihood so that we have excess, so that we can provide for others, right? Take care of our family, take care of things beyond just our wants and needs. That's what this is all about. Creating capital so we can be financially sovereign and help other people live an easier life. Big love to every one of you. I appreciate y'all being here. Red Elephant, what's up? Falco, what's up? JS, what's up? Dan C714, what's up? We got everybody in the house. I'm George 2, Mr. Blake. Everybody's rolling in. We got our crew here. Crew time. We're about to get the BitLab YouTube memberships rolled out here in a matter of days. So it's going to be really great to get a bunch of you involved there. We're going to have a lot of really great emojis. We're going to have some privileges in terms of some private streams for the members, as well as having a certain number of member chats, which are basically just like super chats, but you don't have to pay for the super chat because you're a member. We're going to have a lot of different stuff in here. So shout out to every one of you. I appreciate you all. Thank you all for being here on the pre-streams. Getting the vibes going before the show starts. We got 80 people in the room. We should have 80 likes. Everybody in the room, hit that like button. Everybody that's here pre-stream, hit that subscribe button. We're about to get going here in just a moment. I'm going to go silent. Nico said delisting. Yeah, we got some big delistings coming on Coinbase. What does it mean? What coins are they? Do you hold them? We're going to be breaking down everything in these charts, TA, news, and more. Signals, trade setups, all the stuff right here. So everybody get involved. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you ding the bell. We're going to be getting going here in just a few seconds. What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you're tuned in from. Welcome to the BitLab Academy daily stream. My name is Kellam. I can tell you, if this is your first time, I can guarantee you it's not going to be your last time. Welcome to the BitLab Academy daily stream. We're going to be breaking down all kind of things going on. There's some big news stories that I think in some ways are a little bit of FUD, and there might be some hope there, but we got to break down what it means for the charts. Bitcoin had a little bit of a push yesterday, kind of got truncated, kind of got held back. My hat's so crooked here. Let's make myself look presentable. There we go. We're going to be talking about a lot of things going on with Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, some big news there. We also got some big whales buying Ethereum. We also have a lot of people stacking up Bitcoin. We got long-term holders still holding strong. So before we get into this, make sure every single one of you, we got about 100 people in the room just to start here. So it's a great start to the show. Let's make sure every single one of you hits that like button, is subscribed to the channel. Join us here in our community. We just broke over 9,000 in a matter of about 7 months. Show's growing quite rapidly. Community's growing quite rapidly because we bring you unbiased data. We give you the tools. We give you the skills. We provide you the strategies to understand what's going on in this market. And we have got an absolutely kick-ass community. So shout out to every single person here in the chat right now, everybody here in the community. I want to see every single person in the room drop their favorite emoji in the chat. I want to know where you're tuned in from. I want to know what you're doing. I want to know how you're feeling. Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Drop something in the comments. Let's make this community engaging and vibrant. Let's welcome every single person that's a new member of this channel. We've got about 1,000 new people over the last about 3 weeks. So shout out to every one of you that's a newcomer here. Let's go ahead and jump right on into the daily stream. Boom, coming right here. If you're not yet, make sure you head over to BitLab Academy. If you're watching this on the Hit Network, because we do dual stream this, make sure you head over to youtube.com/@BitLab Academy. Hit that subscribe button. Join us here. As you can see, we just broke 9,000. And I just want to point out, when you come to this page, scroll down just a little bit. If I saw a couple people the last couple of days saying they're having issues with TradingView, they're a little bit reluctant to trade because they don't even understand TradingView yet. Come down here to this daily alpha section here on the BitLab Academy page. Head right over here to the Pro TradingView guide. We break down how to set up the templates, how to add indicators, how to remove them, how to do different things like trend lines and, horizontal lines and horizontal rays, and basically all the basics that you need to really dominate in TradingView. And I guarantee you, if you go through this video right here, it's not relevant to the price action. It's relevant to the strategies and the tools and the skills you need to break down what's going on in price action so that you can stack the probabilities in your favor. Because even if you buy an indicator set, we even have an indicator set at BitLab, the BitLab Trading Stack. If you don't understand the basics of looking at a chart on TradingView or whatever charting software you use, if you don't understand the basics of reading what's going on with candles and all, supports and resistances, you're not going to get the most out of any indicators that you use. You want to understand the basics before you learn to walk, before you learn to run. So make sure you come over here, head over down here to this Pro TradingView guide, check it out, and check out any of these. All these daily alpha videos in here are meant to be evergreen. It doesn't matter what's going on in the price today. This is giving you the skills to understand different things and different aspects and different stimuli and situations within the market so that you can understand what you're doing. Let's go ahead and jump in right to some of the things we want to talk about today. Now, first things first, where's the market at? Bitcoin, remember, it pushed up a little over 26,000, about 500 or 600. We're down to 26,300, kind of still sitting in that range. We are above where we were yesterday, which is good in terms of the morning. Price is making a little bit of a move. Does this mean it's going up and away? No. A $200 or $300 move on a $26,000 asset is nothing. So we got to pay attention to what's going on. We can use the indicators. We can use diagonal supports and resistances. We can look to all the stuff in the charts, but it's also important that we zoom out from the price action. We look into some of the context of what's going on in the market. We got a huge event happening tomorrow for global equities, and more importantly, I should say, U.S. markets, because we have the Jackson Hole Summit with Jerome Powell speaking, and there's, pretty good speculation that's probably going to move the market a little bit based on what he says. Is he going to be hawkish, meaning that he's, leaning into the idea and suggesting the tone of what he's saying, suggesting the high potentiality of more rate hikes, which will cause more pressure on the markets, more pressure on the desire for risk. And remember, Bitcoin is a risk asset. And the further you go down that list, it gets exponentially more risky. So we want to pay attention to what Jerome Powell says tomorrow, because it has an impact on what that risk dynamic's going to be. I don't care about Jerome Powell, but I care about making money in this market. And in order to make money in this market, you got to have an edge. In order to have an edge, you got to zoom out from your myopic view on a 15-minute chart on a single asset and say, what's the bigger picture? And that's what this show is all about. Zooming out so that we can zoom in and figure out what's going on. So let's go ahead and get back in here onto the screen. Now, there's a couple things I want to go over. We're going to go over a couple stories here. But before we do that, let's check in on Bitcoin and let's see what I'm talking about here in terms of that push. And it's not really resulting in much. So looking here, we're on the one-day chart on the Bitcoin BitGet chart. By the way, this section is brought to you by BitGet. Shout out to BitGet. Great exchange. Now looking here, this is that area I marked when the price was down here of the price action likely coming up here. And what is this level? Well, if we zoom out, we can see we've got this level coming down, getting rejected here, getting rejected here, coming down here, getting rejected here. And look at, it's interesting how this is the level at which Bitcoin got rejected at. Not only did it get rejected at that level, if we zoom in here on the 4-hour time frame, one of the I mean, it's a little obscure, but one of the ideas I had yesterday before this pump happened was taking a measurement of this move from the center line, this sort of equilibrium point, to the bottom of the wick, and taking this measurement from the equilibrium here, same spot, and seeing where that would likely go to. Because what the market is doing right now is fighting the battle. It's like a doctor, you know, checking your heart rate. The market is trying to find the pulse of the bulls and the bears and who has the upper hand. So it tested the downside. Bulls, eat it up. Test to the upside. Bears, eat it up a little bit. But look, this came right back to equilibrium. This pushed up and came back and is still holding above this equilibrium point. So one could argue right now, at least on this 4-hour candle time frame, that the bulls have a little bit of the upper hand. But how strong is that upper hand? Well, let's look. We're going to dive into a bunch more TA here in a little bit. We can see we had a high volume candle here on the BitLab Intelligence, part of the BitLab trading stack, pushed right up into the zone. Then we got stopping volume, potential reversal. We had a little bit of a potential bull pennant or bull flag, whatever, but it looks like we're losing that level right now. So what's the level that we need to be watching now? Currently, if we looked at it just like this, there's a bullish bias, but this is very zoomed in. Zooming out, it really looks like we're, you know, small deviation above, but for better or worse, kind of trading in a range to the side. We are above the trend signal line, which is bullish. We are above this weekly VWAP, this yellow line right here, which is bullish. We did get rejected. So where do we look to see what the potentials are? Well, first things first, we see this slightly darker line right here. This is a 20 moving average. We're kind of finding support currently. We haven't fallen through yet, but we're on the upper side of this EMA ribbon that's part of the BitLab Intelligence. You know, we have all this data here that's presented within the BitLab Intelligence. I'd like to see if this price does pull back, stay above this 20 moving average if we want to maintain the bullish bias and the bullish potential of this not being a failed push to the upside. If we lose this level, I would say this regionally, this weekly VWAP and this 20 moving average. So if the price action were to come down and lose this, but find support on this weekly VWAP right here and come back up and work its way back up, that would still be fine. But if we lose this zone right here between the 20 moving average and this weekly VWAP right here, weekly VWAP currently at 26,121. So it's only down about, what was that, $180? Then if we lose this level, this is also just about where the equilibrium is of all this price action. If we lose that level, it looks like we're likely going to come down and at minimum testing this trend signal line again. If we lose that, then I do think the bearish bias is not only back, but I think it's actually will bring us down and test this level down here at $25,000. Why is $25,000 important? Well, what do we do when we don't know? We zoom out. Zooming out, look at this level. Was support. Had a little bit of a reaction here, rejection, then breakthrough. Rejection. Rejection. It's a big level. It's a big level this is at. Now, if we do this, yes, I just said do. If we do this and the price does come down here and test this region right at $25,000 and we do bounce, then we still have a higher low from this washout to the downside. If we come down here and lose this level, if we lose this support level, this diagonal support level, then I do think that we're probably going to be testing down here into the mid 23.5 sort of zone. Now, if we turn on the BitLab volume, look at that. BitLab volume shows an order block with basically high volume of clusters of a lot of clusters of orders that is right below us from previous price action. So this would kind of make sense if we did lose this, coming down into the upper, maybe a little bit above where I was saying before, 23.5, right here into the 23.8s. Now, if we lose that, then I do think that we're likely going to be trickling down and having a little bit more hardship for people that are not strategically prepared, but that also means opportunity for those of you that are prepared. And sometimes preparation doesn't even mean buying or selling. Sometimes preparation in a market, meaning that you're prepared for a move, is even if you bought up here, maybe this is not painful because your time horizon is 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. So your preparation in this instance could be patience. You have conviction in this market. Shouldn't matter what the price is doing if you have a strategy that's in line with what your actions are in the market. They don't get fudded out just because you want it to go up and it's going down. Allow yourself to have a strategy. Now, looking here, we are on the 4 hour. We do have an order block that's directly below us, this green box that we can see right here. Oops, right here. See this green box? Let's go ahead and turn off all the different lines. This green box right below us. So if this does drop down, not only do we have this trend signal line right below us, we want this to bounce here for a bullish bias. If this loses this, we want this to find some support here between 25.7 and 25.8, somewhere here or above to maintain this sort of uncertainty before we get a bearish bias. The bearish bias would really come in once price pushes down into this level and works its way lower. Now we can see on the 4 hour chart here, all the way on the right, we have 1, 2, 3 sort of bearish signals that are being signaled here within the trend fuel. It's a really easy, quick look here on the dashboard on the right. We have 1 neutral and then 2 bullish. So this is leaning a bit bearish. It's not full bear, but it's leaning a bit bearish. What does this look like on the daily? On the daily, I believe it's looking a little more bullish. Look at that. But we're not going to count on this. If we're taking a trade for the day, for instance, I'm not going to use the daily to trade intraday. I'll look at the day to look at the sort of broader context right here. It does look like it's leaning bullish, but if we get better resolution coming down here to the 4 hour, it's starting to look a bit bearish. Look at this. The stochastics are rolling over. The RSI is starting to roll over. The VWAP's rolling over. It looks like this momentum's starting to roll over. What does it look like on the 1 hour? Volume's coming down. Look at that. VWAP. Money's moving away from the VWAP. Now, we also have the stochastics coming down. We also look at it's on the 1 hour. It's bearish, bearish, neutral, neutral, bearish, bearish. So this is looking even more bearish. What does it look like on the 24-minute? Same thing. So it's looking like on the interim, meaning in the next, 1 to 3 hours, there's bearish pressure looking to bring the price down to test the resolve. So let's be patient with that. We're going to come back and visit this. We're going to do a bunch of TA on not only Bitcoin and Ethereum, but a bunch of alts here throughout the show. But we need to kind of zoom out for a second, get out of the chart. And first off, we really wanted to say to each and every one of you, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. If this is your first time, my name is Kellam. Welcome to the BitLab Academy show. If this is your first time, I really can guarantee it. It's not going to be your last time. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ding that bell. Let's kind of jump into the news here. Well, there's a couple things we need to talk about. Bitcoin whales. withdraw over 5,000 Bitcoin from Binance in 1 minute. Remember, we've been covering this for a couple days regarding a lot of the things going on with BNB coin, which of course is very integrated and part of Binance. Are they selling Bitcoin to potentially prop up BNB? Is there questions of solvency? Is there questions? There's all these different sort of rumors, as well as some truth and there's fear, uncertainty, and doubt. That's what FUD is. But is some of it founded? Sometimes it doesn't matter if FUD is well founded or not. It matters if especially as a trader, it matters is how it's affecting the sentiment of the market and what people are doing. In this case, we see whales withdrawing 5,000 Bitcoin in Binance in over 1 minute. Scrolling down here, we can see we got all these whale alerts here. 1,162, 957, 999, 1,511, 1,100, all in the matter of about a minute. Although all the above transactions were made separately, they were all included in the same Bitcoin block height, blah, blah, it tells you the block, which made them registered at the same time. Multiple receivers were part of these withdrawals, but one entity stands out above them all. The unknown address, blah, 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 was responsible for the largest sum, currently holding 5,434 Bitcoin at the time of publication. So people are kind of trying to, hedge themselves, not even hedge themselves, protect themselves for if there is any sort of potential issue with Binance. But in addition to that, let's be honest, it may not even be because of that. That's just speculation. It may be because there is generally over the last year, very large push, a year and a half really, a large push for people and shift in the culture of the mindset of most of people broadly within the crypto space because of all the cascading failures and liquidations and collapses of different crypto institutions and crypto adjacent institutions and exchanges. The biggest one being FTX. We can see that if we come over here, where's my glass node? Right here. We can see that. This is right here. This is the exchange net flow. This is how many coins are moving onto exchange or moving off of exchange. And we can see this is the FTX collapse right here. FTX collapse, and look how many people are like, you know what? I'm done with having somebody else take care of my money. The whole reason we get into crypto is for financial sovereignty, and then we forget that we forget about this, and we want the convenience like a bank is, and we'll just hold it on Coinbase, or we'll just hold it on Binance because Binance is big, or we'll just hold it on FTX because, Sam Bankman-Fried was on the cover of Time magazine. He can be trusted. It doesn't matter who you trust. Trust nobody. Trust nobody except for yourself. And sometimes that means taking more responsibility. We can see this cultural shift by these exchange net flows, negative net flows. We see this also right here. This was a Luna collapse. Now, over here, let's see, right about here, this was the banking collapse, the cascading banking collapses. Is this March? Yeah. Cascading banking collapses. And then all of a sudden, a lot of positive price action here, which is phenomenal. But then right here, seeing a lot of, it's interesting that we're getting this rounding top while we're also getting less available supply on exchange. So on the one hand, price action has been, I don't want to say suffering, but it's been somewhat suppressed. And it could be by anything. It could be by the sentiment of the market. It could be by the fact that institutions are ready to get in and they're using their tactics to suppress price so they can get in at a lower level because we have BlackRock and ARK Invest and Invesco and Vanguard, and so on and so forth. And institutions are ready to get in. So is there a little bit of manipulation in play? I don't care what the reason is. I'm going to look at the charts. I'm going to see what the charts are telling me, what the narrative is from the price action, as well as the strength, the strength signals and momentum. And I'm going to use the data present to me because we can never know all the reasons why. All we can do is look at the data and see what the data is telling us, the story about what the narrative shift may be or may not be. In this case, we're seeing, okay, this sucks that this price is potentially pulling back a little bit. Currently, we still have a higher low, but we also, on that same context, can see that we have huge exchange negative net flows, meaning coins are going off of exchange. And if they're going off of exchange, that means there's less available coins on exchange to trade, which means less available supply. What does it mean when you have less supply? It means less amount of demand is needed to move the price. Okay? So what we're seeing right here, interestingly, remember we just saw 5,000 Bitcoin came off in 1 minute. but they're not the only ones. If we zoom in here, we can see this was, inching back up towards the zero line, potentially like this, potentially all of a sudden coins going onto exchange. Why do coins go onto exchange? If you're holding it in private wallet, what would be the reason to move it onto exchange? There's a high likelihood, at least a speculative likelihood if I'm trading and I'm looking at data, that if people are moving coins onto exchange, it means there's likely going to be some selling pressure coming. This is what it looked like was going to happen here, except all of a sudden, boom, we get the drop, and not people putting coins onto exchange because they want to capitulate. But look at this. We see 12,000 coins come off exchange yesterday. 12,000, not just the 5,000 from whales, but minus 12,000 Bitcoin. So this is starting to work its way back down again. Are we going to get something like this? Not in terms of price action, but this exchange negative net flow. That would be something that would be good, especially with where we're at in the market. So let's keep an eye on that. Now, question for everybody here. Do you only get on-chain data and these deeper analytics and stuff like that when you're watching YouTube? When you're watching me, when you're watching, whoever you watch? Do you, let's be honest, and nobody's right or wrong, but what's your strategy? Do you dive in? Do you go to the free sites like lookintobitcoin.com and try to get some handle, on-chain data to give you, some sort of deeper understanding of what the behaviors of different market participants are? Or could you care less about on-chain? And again, there's no wrong answer. Everybody has their own strategy. I love on-chain data because it gives me a context forward-looking about what may be coming and also where we're at in relationship to long-term holders versus short-term holders, aka weakness versus strength. And I love. And by the way, if you want more information on-chain data, you can go to lookintobitcoin.com. Any of the charts that you go to, when you scroll down below the chart, it gives you a brief rundown. But also head over here to BitLab Academy. We've got a whole on-chain data course, and when you're an all-access member, which is only $37.99 a month, by the way, and you get premium Discord as well. But when you scroll down here, we've got 20 different on-chain charts that we break down here. And whether or not you like on-chain, I will tell you, I think this is one of the most important courses that you could take. And some of the best education you could get is understanding on-chain data, because it lets you understand where smart money that's made money in the market, where they're buying, where they're selling, where the chumps are buying. You can identify the errors you've made in the past by looking at on-chain data and seeing that there's signals that could have given you a front-running signal, sometimes 2-3 weeks, even a month in advance, to let you know you should probably start hedging your position. Then, of course, you can learn about candles and candle patterns and trading strategies and a bunch of different indicators. But let's go ahead and dive back into the story here. And by the way, if you do want to join, you can currently right now, this is not just for the BitLab trading stack. You can use Give Me 30 for any of the products we have to get 30% off your first month. So let's go ahead and dive into the stories. Where are we at? Boom. We talked about this. Large amount of selling. Retraction there. Large amount of negative flow off of exchange, which is positive for the supply and demand dynamics of Bitcoin. Now, price rebounds as whales and sharks splash $300 million. This is basically from people with Bitcoin of about 10, above 10 in their address, all the way up to 10,000. So we can see the start decline, blah, 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 has encountered substantial turmoil, plummeting at one time to a nadir of $25,400. I'm not really sure what nadir is, but optimism is starting to return to the market. It's funny how a couple $100 pump can all of a sudden kind of let you know where we're at in the market. Things have been pretty boring, people get really scared, and then we get a $300 pump, and it's like, we're going for the move. Dude, we just moved 0.01%. It's like, come on. The more to be more specific, Bitcoin temporarily jumped to $26,800 on August 23rd, driven by a resurgence in activity among the whale and shark addresses. Individuals, by the way, understanding that you could see the activity among whale and shark addresses, that's what on-chain data analysis is, just so you know. Individuals are entities that hold large amounts of cryptocurrency that are capable of significantly influencing market trends, okay, blah, blah, blah. According to the crypto behavior analytics platform Sentiment, there are currently 156,666 wallets holding 10 to 10,000 Bitcoin. That means semi-ballin to astronomical ballin. And they have accumulated $308.6 million since August 17th. So over the last week over $300 million worth of Bitcoin has been accumulated. These investors have collectively added 11,629 Bitcoin over the past 6 days. Now, remember, when we're thinking about this, when we're looking at this data, it's not just whales and sharks. We also have to understand the context of who these players might be. Is it larger individuals in terms of individual participants in the market? Also note that the BlackRock and the spot ETF applications from 10 or 12 different major institutions that are with the SEC right now for potential approval or denial over the next 6 months has also signaled a very high likelihood that we're going to start seeing institutional interest start stacking up as well. And understand that that's going to have a cascading effect. So as spot ETFs get approved, as also balance sheets start getting revealed over the next 2 years, it's going to take some time because it's usually like sometimes monthly, sometimes quarterly, balance sheet reports from different institutions. When we start seeing, institutions that said they would never be in Bitcoin, all of a sudden they have 10,000 Bitcoin. And we're going to start seeing this cascading effect. That's not only going to be us retail people, you and me, competing, not even competing, but trying to get as much as we can before these institutions get in. But once these institutions start getting in, it's going to be a competition amongst themselves. It's going to be a feeding frenzy. So it's interesting to see this, especially right now, when I'm very curious who some of these players are. Some of these players could be BlackRock, it could be all kind of people. It could be oil companies, could be sovereign, balance sheets. There's so much that's going on here that we just need to just be diligent, be patient, and actively engage with this market. We don't need to read any more of this article. Let's go to the next one. What was this one? I forget. Bitcoin cases. Bitstamp ceases Ethereum staking for U.S. customers. So I just brought this up because as excited as I want to be for some of the altcoin holdings that I have, because it's in my mind, it's going to it's going to outperform Bitcoin so much in this next bull run. We always have to balance that with the context of there's no guarantee and there's no way to know what new regulation is going to come down. And even if they get overturned in the future, AVAX could still get crushed by being labeled as a security and all of a sudden drop to $2. We could see the same thing for any altcoin out there. We could see, we're seeing these issues right now, Bitstamp ceasing Ethereum staking for US customers. Is this going to be something that's going to cascade more broadly? Is this going to have negative impact on those altcoins? Is it going to suppress their ability to have that outperformance that you're looking for? Again, just a reminder, this is why it's important to have a diversified portfolio. Now coming over here, Coinbase, this is in the thumbnail. Coinbase to halt trading for 6 major crypto assets. What are they? Cardano, AVAX, Quant. No, it's none of those. Thank God. Thank God. But what it is, this is another thing. This goes right back to what I was just talking about with Ethereum. Remember, Coinbase also has, they're also working, I don't want to say alongside. BlackRock is using Coinbase as their custodian for the Bitcoin that they're going to hold for their spot ETF if and when they get approved. Coffee break. So Coinbase is also a publicly traded company. And as much as Coinbase wants to be absolute pro crypto and let's support it all, at the same time, they have to play the game and navigate the waters of the SEC and the presidential administration and regulatory uncertainty. And, now they have this, giant behemoth of a weight on their shoulders, which is a good thing and a bad thing, having BlackRock essentially be, in some ways, partners with them. And who's to say that there's not going to be more things delisted? So you got to be very careful about especially where we're at right now in the market, in the high temperature, let's call it, high temperature around what may or may not happen. Is Gary Gensler going to throw another tantrum? Is Gary Gensler going to throw another tantrum? And potentially, if there's, more hurdles or more headaches, and we're going to talk about one of those here in a second regarding the XRP case, where, it feels like what he's doing is he's trying to throw as much at the wall as possible and sees what sticks. So who knows what's going to happen here. But looking here at the Coinbase halting 6 major assets, what are they? Let's just scroll down, look at it quickly. Nothing super major. Barnbridge, which is bond, DDX, Derivadal, Jupiter. I've never even heard of Jupiter. Multichain, Uki, and Voyager. So, thank God it's nothing that's really in the top 10 or top 20, but it just goes to show you anything that currently is, this is how it is currently in the crypto market, does not mean that's how it will be in 3 months, 6 months, or a year. So if you have, name the asset in your portfolio and you love it and you think the tokenomics are great and blah, blah, who's to say that, it's not going to have some sort of SEC allegation put against it, levied against it, and Coinbase may have to delist it, or something happens with, a hack or whatever it is. We got to be careful about how we are positioning ourselves in this market. Now, I'll tell you right now, I've got Bitcoin, I've got Ethereum, but I am far more degen than I'd like to admit. But I keep a hawk eye. I'm in these markets 11 hours a day, reading, studying, trading, doing diligence, talking with other, I know some things about the market, but I feel like I know nothing when some of the people that I talk with in terms of their analytical skills and their knowledge of markets so I don't want to say I can afford to be a little bit more degen, but I have my finger on the pulse to adjust my portfolio and rotate capital as needed, while also having stops and having different hedges in place. So I'm just wanting you all to be careful about how you're managing your portfolio. I keep getting this reminder every time I'm on the stream. There we go. Now, next thing here, USS. By the way, we're going to be jumping into a bunch of TA here in a second. We're going to be looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum, a bunch of coins, a bunch of the altcoins. I got a list from the pre-show with all you pre-show people here in the comments. We got a lot of altcoins we're going to be looking at, so stay tuned. We're going to be getting into the altcoins and the TA and the signals and all this in just a few minutes. We just got to look at all the context of what's going on in the market, so then we can make some of the TA make sense and hopefully also lean into a little bit of an edge of where we can forecast potentials and price levels. Breaking: U.S. SEC attorneys Richard Best and Robert Moy, I'm not sure, withdraw from the XRP lawsuit. So a little bit more hardship for Gary Gensler here. We can see 3 attorneys for the U.S. SEC withdraw from the lawsuit. CoinGate Media earlier reported that U.S. SEC filed a motion for the withdrawal of its attorney Pascal Guerrier from the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. Judge Torres has granted the motion for Pascal, but not yet for, it says it somewhere down here, not yet for Robert Moy. Now, the next thing about this is, so what's going on? That part of it says that there's a medical leave, but for one of them, Richard Best. But it feels like there's a little bit of exhaustion going on with all these games that, Gary Gensler is trying to force square pegs through round holes. There's only much legal footwork that, these lawyers can do before it's like, So this is not a good thing for Gary Gensler, but I do think in the long run, this will more likely not be a good thing for XRP. And then the next thing here, Ripple versus SEC trial set for April 2024. When? Right about when the halving is, April 22nd to the 26th. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Now, next thing here, we're almost to the TA, but I just want to point some out here with Glassnode. Realized profits to value ratio. Now, scrolling down here, the realized profits to value ratio is defined as a ratio between realized profits, meaning if you held a coin, let's say for 10 days or for 10 years, and you sell it in profits, that's realized profits. Realized cap is the average of every coin on network the last time it was sold. So whether you've been holding it for a day or 10 years, and both those coins are, so if I'm holding a coin for, let's say, a year, you're holding a coin for a week, and we sell those 2 coins, then those 2 are going to effectively change based on how long they're held. It basically gives you sort of a realized market value, the realized price of what's going on network. And we can see here This is a chart actually made by ARK Invest, the ARK crew, and we can see each time this comes down here. This is a great metric identifying roughly where market cycle bottoms are. Look at that. This came down and kind of consolidated. We get that low. This came down, FTX collapse. We get the low, push up out of it, come back and retest. What happened right back here? Pushed up out of it, came back and retested. Is this what we needed? Are we going to dip back into it? We also see the same thing happen here. Pushed up out of it, came back, retested. This is that pre-halving pullback. Also the pre-halving drop in realized value. So is this a setup? I don't know. I think we got one more story here. Ethereum, whale watching, $94 million worth of Ethereum. I got like a hair on my face. Whale watching, $94 million worth of Ethereum acquired in the last 7 days. In a span of just 7 days, 4 major ETH holders have acquired an estimated 94 million or 56,100 ETH. Let me know in the chat, would you like to have 50,000 Ethereum? Golly, I'd love to have 50,000 Ethereum. I'd love to have 5,000 Ethereum. Shit. 4 major ETH investors accumulated 94 worth of digital asset is highly, okay, blah, blah, blah. So we can see all the data there. Dormant wallets stirring. An Ethereum name service domain, darkmarket.eth, reclaimed 39,712 ETH, equivalent to $119 million on July 31st, despite ENS founder, developer Nick Johnson's reminders to the owners to reclaim the assets in 2021. They had remained untouched. So there's some dormant movement going on. Notable dormant wallet activations have also been recorded in the past year. One wallet inactive for 8 years and holding pre-mined Ether transferred assets worth $160 million to Kraken to a Kraken exchange address on July 19th. So we're seeing a little bit of movement over the last couple months. But the whole point here with this article is that whales are acquiring also not only Bitcoin but Ethereum. Remember, I don't want to follow the hype of the market. I want to know what the big dogs are doing, and I want to swim alongside them. And if I buy right after $3 billion worth of $3 billion worth of Bitcoin, 115,000 Bitcoin acquired in the last, I think it's like 3 weeks or something by an unknown address, right? They're seeing value. Are you going to put $3 billion something if you don't think it's has a high likelihood of moving in a direction? So I see that and I'm like, okay, if I'm going to buy, then even if it drops, I'm going to buy more, because clearly big money and institutions are saying, this is the shit, right? And I want to swim alongside those whales and those sharks. I don't want to swim with the bottom feeders. And again, if we come back over to this, on my page here, let's see. I posted this a long time ago. And that is, make sure you're following me, by the way, right here. You can also see my name right there, spelled correctly, Kelly, Kellam. Look for that blue check. Look for the hit logo. But this right here, this shows us where we want to be buying and selling. Smart money buys these bottoms, buys these bottoms. They buy the retest back down too. See? Hype buyers are buying. Oh my God, this sucks right here. Why would you ever buy Bitcoin? Now it's past previous all-time high. Yeah, you should get Bitcoin because, I mean, you should always be getting Bitcoin. Name any asset though. People wait to buy until after you get back above previous all-time highs because that's when they feel good because the price is moving. That's not when you get good returns. You look for fundamental data and fundamental price structures and fundamental divergences on strength indicators that let you know, man, the short-term holders are getting exhausted. There's a predominantly large number. We can actually even see this clearly coming over here, looking at the, what's it called? Reserve risk. Reserve risk. Look at this chart right here. Let's zoom out on this. This is basically looking at this is essentially the price divided by the HODL bank. HODL bank is essentially how big the HODL bank is how strong is the short-term holder sort of basis. Long-term holder basis. People holding. We see when this gets down in here, there's an asymmetric risk opportunity, meaning it's less risk to very higher likelihood of reward. So you can see this down here, and then price moves up. See this right here, price moves up. See this right here, price moves up. Look how deep we are here. On this chart, we have some of the best asymmetric risk, reward to risk opportunity than we've ever had. We had this was after the FTX collapse, but then the price kind of pushed up. We are pulling back a little bit right now, but look how low we are. Even if price drops a bit, we're still in a great zone. If we look at the RH ODL, this is a 1 week to 1 to 2 year basically ratio. Very short-term holders to medium long-term holders right here. And we can see if we zoom out on this, this basically gives you the ratio. Is it predominantly short-term holders or predominantly long-term holders? And what do you notice? When short-term holders really get in and the long-term holders are selling, who are they selling? They're taking profits on this. They're taking profits on this rise up. As the long-term holders are taking profits on this ride up, who are they selling to? That coin suddenly becomes a short-term held coin. And so as we see more long-term held coins sold, and now short-term holders are buying, look at this. When we get up into these zones, very high, look at this sharp decline in price. When we get this price all the way back down here, when it's predominantly long-term holders, this shows you these are wonderful bargain fire sale prices. We got the same thing right here when we had the FTX collapse right here and the price moved up. So we're still in a very low ratio here, suggesting that there's still predominantly majority long-term holders. So we can use all this data to provide us insight as to where we're at in the market and the conditions of the market so that we can position ourselves correctly. 251 people in the room, got 166 likes. Every single one of you, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, join us here in our community. I appreciate each and every one of you. I think it's time. We got a lot of time today. Got through the stories early. I think I had something else I wanted to share over here, though, and then we'll jump into the TA. That is right. Oh, make sure you head over to the BitLab Academy Twitter page. It's right here at Academy BitLab. Hit that retweet, hit that like button. This is where we draw from when we do giveaways. We do giveaways every week. So get involved, join our community. And I just wanted to share this with you guys because I thought it was interesting. I shared it on my Twitter page, on my X page. It sounds so bad. It sounds worse than OnlyFans. I shared this on my X. I shared a video on my X page. And this is essentially talking about how much money and value has changed since the Great Depression. And although we have this facade of everything being so much better, we have this facade of everything being so much better right now, 2023, but things are, in some aspects, if we look at the data, worse off than they were during the Great Depression. Some would argue that potentially maybe this is like a silent depression. Maybe it's a facade depression. I don't know what it is, but look at this video. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me see if I have the, this is desktop audio unmuted. All right. Let's go ahead and see this right here. It's about a minute long. I don't think you guys are getting the audio from that. I don't know why. Screen, camera.
The average annual income in 19...
Here it is.
I heard a new term on TikTok today that made me stop in my tracks.
We are living in the silent depression.
This guy believes we are not just living in worse than the Great Depression, we're living in the silent depression. The average annual income in 1930 for an American individual was a little over $4,800. Sounds like nothing, but if you adjust that for inflation, a little over $4,800 a year in 1930 is equivalent to almost $85,000 annually for the average salary for one person. Right now, the average annual salary is $56,000 a year. We currently are making less than the height of the Great Depression. In 1930, gas was on average 10 cents a gallon. That would be about $1.73. In case you haven't filled up your car lately, average cost of a gallon of gas is $3.55. To buy a new car in 1930 would have been about $860. It's worth about 15 grand. The average cost of a new car today is $48,000. And of course, the most coveted aspect of the American dream, being able to buy a house in 1930 cost about $3,900, less than $70,000. I spend way too much time on Zillow, so maybe this isn't surprising to me, but the average price of a home in America today is $416,000. How could we be living through worst cost of living and wages than 1930? And no politician, no media outlet, no one is talking about it.
That's Bidenomics. It's about growing an economy by strengthening the middle class.
I said, Damn. Can you believe that? Makes you wonder. There was a couple good comments on here on this. Somebody posted, irate specialist here, member in our community, said, he said right here, this makes so much sense. To be honest, I got a raise at work. I still feel like I'm not making enough money because I'm really not. I believe it, said Travis Michael. 18 to 20, I made about 55,000. I have far more discretionary income than I do currently making close to 80. No kidding. Colatry? I'm not sure. I found an old receipt from June 2022. Everything that I buy on a regular basis has gone up 25 to 30%. This is not even accounting for the distortion in how much we make being so far less growth than the cost of things that life. So, I was talking with some of the other members of the HIT network here before we went live. And, sometimes we think about like our parents and like we look at the blueprints of our own lives and we may be 35, we may be 40, we may be 25 or whatever age you are and think, man, my mom and dad had 2 kids and owned a house by the time they were 27. And they were making far less. Of course there's inflation, but even respectively accounting for inflation, they made far less than I make now, far less. How do they afford that? Because things cost less in general. And that's one of the reasons why I love the opportunity that's here in Bitcoin. I love the opportunity that's here with blockchain, with the digital asset ecosystem. And if we position ourselves correctly and we look at the charts and understand what's going on, forecast a little bit what's happening, manage our risk, maybe we can recapture some of that, not wealth, but maybe we can recapture some of that opportunity that has been stolen from us with the suppression in wages and the rising cost of living. So let's go ahead. I think it's time. Everybody throw a 1 in chat right now. If you're ready for some TA, let's try to find some signals. Let's try to find some setups. Let's look at these probabilities so that we can recapture some of that wealth and get ourselves in position for this next bull run. Are you ready? Let's jump in. All right, let's look here. Starting, we're going to end with Bitcoin at the end of the show so we can leave with what's going on. Before we do that, I do want to say, if you haven't yet, head over here to the BitLab Academy Discord page. Mods, throw the link in chat. There's a free section in there, but we've got a wonderful community here with all kind of different charts and analysis and different chart requests and scalp trade setups and gem trades and altcoin spot trades, butcher calls, trading strategies. We've got all kind of different stuff in here. And John Dalton, one of the wonderful members of our, he does so much. He does so much in the, let me go ahead and mute the charts there so you don't hear the dings. He provides so much. So he even had a $1,000 to $10,000 trading competition in here just not very long ago. But we can see, he did it in about, I think it was about a month and a half or 2 months, 1 to 10K, trading smart. So let's go ahead and talk about some of these trades. Let's talk about these charts. Let's see what's going on. And let's break down what's happened. It looks like Bitcoin is trying to take that move down. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. We're going to come back to this at the end. But let's look at some of these altcoins that you guys wanted to look at. Let's see what altcoins they were. Come over to the BitLab Mods Discord. All right. We got ALGO, Atom, ADA, HBAR, XRP, Link, ETH, Quant, and Pepe as always. Everybody's always asking for Pepe. Arweave if time. All right, let's go ahead and jump in here. Thank you, Brad Guidell, for getting that list from the pre-stream, from all these active members here. Let's break down what this is. So Algo, Atom, ADA. We'll start with those. Let's do it exactly in order. If you got Algo, throw Algo fam in the chat. Hashtag Algo if you're an Algo holder. Man, there's been a wild ride on Algo. Let's go ahead and look at this on the monthly. Look at that. That is just feeling rough. Now, where are we at on these prices? Let's actually look at a new chart. Let's look at a clean chart. Let's look at a clean chart on everything, actually. You know what? Let's do that. Let's go to this one. We're going to look at a clean chart on everything. We're going to do this all together. Okay, now Algo. I know I haven't looked at it here, so it's all going to be, there we go. All right, so we're looking here on Binance. Let's look on the monthly. See what it looks like. Sell off from launch, recapture, and then massive sell off. Look at this. Now, this is on the monthly. Let's go down to the daily. BitLab trading stack, call this very strong. A lot of bearish divergences here. That's what these twos are. There's two bearish divergences, two more bearish. A lot of bearish divergences saying this is, look at this. Not only that, at the very top, this was suggesting it came down, keeps getting rejected right about where this trend signal line is, this red line. And then we finally end up breaking down. We have a deviation above. And look at this. We have a lower high. Get rejected, come back down. Now we're getting rejected at the trend signal line. Little deviation above. We're just riding this all the way down. Bearish setup, reversal, continue down, boom, boom, boom. We're all the way over, where are we at? All the way to where we're at right now. All right, here's the daily. We have a deviation below. We had an attempt above, see this? And we're getting sucked back down because there's just such bearish pressure on this over time. And look at this. This is interesting right here. Strong selling volume, which is why you get this purple candle. This is part of the BitLab intelligence. We can see right here. Let's actually, for some reason, the BitLab volume isn't on. There we go. There's a BitLab volume. Look at this. Order block right here, populated. Price pulled back, pushed up into it, cleared this order block, and gets sent down. High volume selling candle right here. A lot of selling pressure. Stopping volume. Tries to make an attempt up. It's getting rejected right here in the middle. I mean, in the middle of this order block, as well as barely breaking above where this EMA ribbon is. It's all compressed right here, but if you zoom in, you can see this EMA band right here. It's getting rejected. If this gets rejected here, which is currently kind of stuck between the EMA ribbon and the weekly view op, if this loses this level, I do think this is likely coming down. I don't know if it's going to come all the way down to 820. If the market is trying to find a little bit of an equilibrium here, especially looking at Bitcoin, and Bitcoin holds and doesn't lose that $25,800 region again, then I do think this may, if this does come down, it will bounce somewhere above this low. If Bitcoin loses and it's starting to test down into the 24s, I do think this is not only going to test down here, it's probably going to come lower. This is looking at the daily. So although, and this is important, on the BitLab Trend Fuel, which you can see right here, this is all three of these indicators. This volume indicator, which gives us order blocks, the BitLab intelligence, which gives us this basically this moving averages, as well as the bullish divergences, as well as bearish and bullish signals and trend shifts and all this sort of stuff, as well as the dynamic support and resistance zones. Looking at all the indicators here, we still have to keep in mind what the general technical analysis is of what's going on. And currently, if we look at the signals on the BitLab Trend Fuel, we can see that there is 1, 2, bullish, neutral, neutral, bullish, bullish. So this says it's leaning bullish, but look at this orders. Look at all these orders right here, all sell orders. So this is having conflicting data right here. And it doesn't mean the indicator's wrong. It means the market's still trying to figure out what the hell it wants to do. And on a daily setup, based on this move right here, there is a bullish sort of underlying trajectory on what's happening. But if we come down here and look on let's, for instance, the 4 hour, look at this. It's looking a little more, it's a bit more neutral, but leaning bearish, also because we're in a downtrend. Now, if we do lose these two levels, now we've already broken currently below the weekly VWAP. And that's right here at 966. We're just below it. If we're not able to hold here and push back up, then I do think we're not only going to test 951, but we're going to test down here to the low side of this range. And that's going to be the determining factor. If we take out 923, then I do think that this is coming much lower, because as it stands right now, if we look with just some basic TA here, we've got a support line right here. If we lose this level, not only do I think we're coming here, I do think we're coming further down. So ALGO is not looking too hot. It looks like it's trying to make an attempt, but if we really look at this, down attempt. I do think I think there's going to be one more leg down. Now, let's go ahead and look at the next. If this does push up, next level right above us, 996, which is essentially the order block right above us. If we can't take this out, then I do think it's coming down. If we do push up and take this out, then I don't think it's going to be making that much of a room higher. I'm looking for 1021, which is kind of where these candle bodies are bouncing, as well as the top side of this order block. Now, ADA. What's ADA looking like? ADA. Are you an ADA holder? If I only didn't sell those 800, I think it was 750, 800,000 ADA that I used to have. A lot of ADA. And I sold it in such a good trade. Went from 1 cent to about 5 cents. Yeah, it was a good trade. I look back at that sometimes. I'm like, man, that was before I was like keeping a moon bag. Before I was, I didn't have my full strategy down. I made money on it, but man, I could have made a lot more if I just kept a portion of that position for longer term. Now, looking here, Cardano. We talked about this yesterday, potential W formation. We got the W formation, but look at this. We had a lower high here, and we could not break out of this potential neckline right here. We actually rejected back down. We're sitting right now currently right about where the VWAP is. We're below it, though. So, and look at this. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. My bad. My bad. I go back and forth sometimes. One-man show. So you could have made a lot of money, Kelly. Thanks, Brad Guidell's funny. So we can see here, Cardano got the W formation. In addition to the W formation, we do see the rejected lower high. Price is coming back down. It's testing right. Look at this, right inside this zone between the 20 moving average. Lost the weekly VWAP, which is 26.4. We're just below it. If we can't hold above this trend signal line right here, which is currently is at 26 cents, then I do think we're coming back down to test the bottom side here, 25.1. But I think it's more likely if this does happen, it does look like we have a little bit of a range here, option J, where this is kind of trading. If we lose this, depending on what the velocity and the volume and all the things coming into this, I think there's a high likelihood we're going to tap down here into the high 24s. Into this order block that's right below us. But as it stands right now, this very well could just trade sideways. If we're looking at this on the daily, yeah, this looks like the other way. It hasn't yet populated. This is still looking bullish, but we can see on the smaller time frame that it's kind of leaning into the bears. Now, if this does lose this, if this does bounce at 26 cents, we do have an order block there. But I'm leaning to the fact that this is likely, if we lose this 26.3. We lose this, that I do think we are going to be testing down here, back down to the low 25s, 25.3-ish. Now, that's what I'm seeing. If we do push up, then we have this ultimate sort of level, this neckline right here that we need to watch, which is basically 272 up to about 274, this sort of region right here, because this is a high here, but then this is the high of this candle here, of at least the candle body. And it's also the top of the order block. So if we cannot get past 27.4, there's no point in talking about further upside. Things are feeling very consolidatory and uncertain at the moment. So it feels like we're going to have a little bit more chop probably into tomorrow when we get the Jackson Hole Summit. So we got to pay attention to that. Patience. Sometimes patience is a strategy. A lot of times, most often, it's the best strategy. So let's be patient. Now, what was the next thing we had to look at here? Algo, Atom. Forgot to, oh, my bad. Atom. Look at Atom. Boom. Who out here holds Atom? Let me know what your thoughts are. They're a bit of a, not really a clear, it's kind of, yeah. Just getting my feelings about me looking at this chart. Let's look at the daily. Look at this. Order blocks from way back over here, all the way back in June. And this is exactly where we're finding support on these order blocks. I love these order blocks on the BitLab volume, all part of the BitLab trading stack, by the way. Look at this. Losing, it's getting rejected right about the weekly VWAP. It tries to deviate above it, and the trend signal line gets rejected down. Test back into it, test back into it, rejected. Test back into it, right into this dynamic resistance zone here on the BitLab Intelligence, rejected. Comes down to the order block. Bounces a little bit up. Now it's getting rejected at the 20 moving average. So it looks like we can also see there's a bit of an increase in momentum to the downside. What do I mean by that? Well, look at this. It's like throwing a book out the window. It goes out until it loses velocity horizontally, and it's increasing its velocity to the downside. That's how you get that arc. So there's increased momentum to the downside. The question is, Are we going to be able to find a floor where we're at right here? Well, it's a little sketchy because look at this. We had a drop down and then push up, and then this wick goes a little bit further. So technically we have a lower low here. The question is going to be what happens right here. If we take out this level that's directly above, directly below us, and that level is basically the top side of this secondary order block in here, is right about, let's call it 708, 709. If we lose this region, I do think the price action is coming down somewhere into this region down here into the mid upper sixes, 6.8, 6.7 sort of zone. And I mean, we're seeing this. We're getting a little bit. Are we going to get a little bit of another precipitous drop to the downside? Not feeling too bullish on Atom. Let's look at what this looks like on the 2 hour. 2 hour, it does look like we have, look at this, large momentum to the downside, smaller trend momentum to the downside. And so we're getting a little bit of a deviation here. Potential for a bit of divergence. It's just hard to call it that because we have this large wick to the downside. If we look at just the candle bodies, we do have a bullish divergence. So it's kind of like a weak divergence here, but we are getting a bullish setup right here based on what's happening in the underlying price action. But the strength is coming down here. Now, this could be a good thing if the strength and the stochastics, if the strength and the stochastics get to a point where they're reset to the lower side. Turn on the stochastics. Look at that. That's exactly what's happening. We zoom in on this. We see, look at this. This is trying to arc up, but we can see this is giving us a little bit of a signal that's not, it's not ready to really come up yet because we see a red bar here. This red bar, this lightly shaded red bar, is suggesting that there's a lot of underlying selling pressure. Even though this momentum's coming up, we do see the stochastics coming down, almost fully reset. Look at this. They're down to 19%. You can look to the right to see what the percentages are. Down to about 19. RSI is down to about 25. We'd like to see these things round. We're expecting a bit of a bounce. We'd like to see these things round and move up, but we'd like to see these red bars, as we see like this, these red bars. We'd like see these go away and go back to being just like these gray-white bars. So we're not seeing underlying selling pressure, but we are seeing the money flow start coming out a little bit as well. This is all part of the BitLab trend fuel. This looks to me like it's trying to test this sort of range. Oops. It's trying to test this range. My microphone was wobbling. Trying to test this range right in here, 715. We lose this region, 715 to 711, then that's when I'm calling that this is likely pushing down. What I'd like to see is this come here, bounce, test this area, maybe consolidate a little bit in here before we get a breakout. Rejection at this level, test to the downside and continuation up. That's what I'd like to see as a bull. But let's see what happens at this zone right here for Atom. All right. What's the next thing we were looking at? I don't remember. HBAR. Who out there is HBAR holders? Who's those HBAR barians? Let me know. I used to hold quite a bit of HBAR. I sold it back when everybody said, I think it was August 4th, sold quite a bit of altcoins. And people were like, well, why would you sell right now? Halving's coming up. I got your bags, whatever. And then it's like, well, look what the market did. You know why? Because I was looking at the charts and I was like, it looks like there's going to be a pretty big fall. And what was it, about 2 weeks later, market collapsed. And it's like, none of those people that were shit talking when I took that sale, none of them said anything since. Got a little bit of a, looks like we're forming a bit of a triangle here. This is maybe off, oops, a little bit. Yeah, this is a little bit more appropriate here. Yeah. So we got a bit of a triangle here. But this is looking ugly because this also, I won't call it a head and shoulders, but this looks a little bit like a head and shoulders right here, except this bounced here is kind of getting a deviation. So it's not quite a head and shoulders, but some of those characteristics are at play. Stochastics angled down, money flow angled down, VWAP angled down. The momentum, trend momentum's trying to come up, but it's looking like because this is coming down, this is likely to start rounding out and continue to the downside. Now on HBAR, the level I'm watching for HBAR, And look at that. Oh, perfect call to the downside. High volume, teal candles, high volume into a level, stopping volume. We see the stochastics top out, starting to angle down. So on this next push up, boom, this would have been an excellent short opportunity just to ride this down to this next zone, pushing up. I mean, I'm looking at 5899, which is about, yeah, I don't even know what that mathematical equation is, but right into this zone right here. Is it 1/100th of a cent? Is that what it is? 1/100th of a dollar? We're at 5997, so down to 5889 right in here. And if we bounce here, then I think we might be constricting into this. If we lose this level, just on basic TA, this is the next level I'm looking at. If we lose, I mean, let's be honest. It'd be like this: option J. Those are the three levels I'm looking at. If we lose this level, which is basically 5905, 558, somewhere in this region, this is the next level. Potential bounce up, rejection, come back down to 5553. That's what I'm seeing right there. If we look at this on a larger time frame, daily, for instance, we do see the momentum's coming down. We're still sitting in this dynamic support region right here. So on the daily, this is looking a little bit stronger. But I do still think this is coming down to touch this. Looking down at the 8-hour order block right below us. So this gives us some hope that if the price does lose this level, that we could stronger position for stronger ratio likelihood that this will find some sort of bounce in this region between 5.5 and 5.7, which is where this giant order block is from this massive wick here. So, maybe we get the flush out to the downside, then a launch up to the upside. As it stands right now, this is still looking relatively weak, but it is constricting into a zone. What was the next thing we're looking at? XRP. Bob from Texas. I'm up 242% from yesterday. VVS Crypto, what's up? Shout out to that. Is it an asset? Is it multiple assets? Was it just one ridiculous leverage trade? Let us know what you did, how you did it. Yeah, that's some good profits right there. Shout out to you. Shout out to my boy Crypto 420 in the house, JS, Crypto Crabman, Nanor. Big love to everybody in the house. Jack Mueller, how you doing? SHIB, you want to look at SHIB, but maybe we'll look at SHIB towards we got to look at some more substantial assets first, and then we can look at the super degen stuff. Still surprises me, and there's no offense, but it still surprises me that anybody invests in SHIB. But on the other hand, it is a quick mover when it moves, so it is a good thing to trade, but it's not something to trade and then hold the profits in that asset. Make some profits, capital, rotate your capital into better, longer standing assets like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, HBAR, AVAX, Quant. So what are we looking at? XRP. How many of you have been holding before the XRP pump that we had a little while back? How many of you felt like you missed it and you're pissed and you bought it on the way up and now it's only back to where it's at? How many of you saw it go up and were waiting on it to come back to get it back at that sort of, a pullback price after the pump? And now we're seeing basically the same price and if you got it in the right moment, below the price it was before the pump. All right. Shout out from the boys in Michigan. Matthew Mainville said, Mainville. Crypto Allah, what's up? We're looking at XRP. Where is that at? Somewhere on my list here. XRP. Look at that. So this is pre-pump. This is the news right here. Pump came down. Where did it go? Below the price that it was before the pump. This is why patience is everything in this game, everybody. Now we got a leg down, a little bit of sideways action. Look at this. We're trying to break. We're on the 8-hour. Trying to break above this 50 moving average trend signal line. We get two bearish divergences immediately. We're in the middle of this giant order block. We're getting pushed right back down. If we're able to bounce here quickly or push further sideways, then maybe we can start building a little bit of bullish price action. But this is not looking. This looks like a bear flag. So if this was a bear flag, let's look at this. I mean, we could go all the way down here, but let's just go kind of to where this wick is right here, this candle body. If we took that breakout to the downside, that would bring us, I mean, boom, down to 40 cents. If we measured this all the way to this wick, this would take us probably right into that order block. Look at that. It's ridiculous how this TA is just magic in terms of where a move projects it's going to go into a known area of liquidity. It's these order blocks. Man. So this is on the daily. Look at this. It's getting rejected right here at the weekly VWAP and at the 20 moving average in this EMA ribbon. We're pushing right into this giant order block here. This is looking like it's trying to test lower, but let's see what happens because there's all this news on a daily basis. Every third day, it feels like there's a different piece of news that moves the price of XRP up substantially or back down. And so let's be careful on this. Let's look down this on the 2 hour. What's it saying about potentiality for the day? Let's zoom in here. I want to zoom in. There we go. On the 2 hour, look at this. This is broke above the trend signal line, found support right on the EMA ribbon, found support on the 20 moving average, lost it, came down, found rejection on the VWAP, rejection on the VWAP and the 20 moving average, support on the trend signal line. And now it's, I mean, this got compressed between the trend signal line and the 20 moving at 20 EMA, broke above it, sitting there right at the weekly VWAP right here, breaks above it, loses the 20 moving average again, comes down. This is, I mean, this is just, the bulls and the bears are just battling it out right here. The stochastics are coming down quite low. So if something were to happen here, there's juice for it to move if it wants to. However, we can also see because of all this price action, we do have a bit of a trend line here. So is this, look at that. The point of control basically outlines somewhat of a triangle that we have right here, descending triangle. Flat level of support. See this? Where all this price action is right here. We could actually go right here to where this took off from. Bounced, bounced, bounce. Is this going to come down and bounce? And remember, what does this shape tell you? What does this shape tell you? These formations on the chart tend to break bearish. This is what it looked like in 2017 or 2017 into 2018. When we had that blow off top at 17,000, and then we had that sort of consolidation in a flat bottom with the triangle of resistance right here. If we come up here, we can look at this. Come up here. Well, let's go to the 3-day. I just want you to notice something here. Let's go to a different chart. Here we go. This is exactly what I'm talking about right here. This was, here we go. 2017, bastard. There we go. 2017, blow off top. Retrace, come down, and then what do we have? This is the same shape that we just saw on XRP. And what happened with this flat bottom support? What happened? Bottom fell out from under it. Bam! Now, it's not always going to happen, but as a pretty high hit rate in terms of, and it's not because the pattern does it. The pattern is exemplifying a changing dynamic and growing sort of narrative, whether it be bullish or bearish, because there's waning bullish attempts or waning bearish attempts. In this case, when we're looking at XRP, let's go back to XRP. Where were we at? Right here, okay. Daily, 12 hour. This is that say, obviously this also has price action coming down into it, and we have this flat bottom. So if this does, let's go back, let's go down to the 1 hour. Looking at this on the 1 hour, look at this, rejected, bounce, rejected at the VWAP, bounce, rejected here. Now we have this real trend line here. Another attempt, almost like an M formation. And look at this, high selling volume, which is why the candles are purple, part of the BitLab intelligence. Now, will we get a little bit of a bounce here and then a rejection at the weekly VWAP and then come down, or are we just going to come straight down? We're not going to know currently, but it does look like here on the BitLab Trim Fuel, we see that there's red bars here showing that there's not only in the price action, we see a lot of heavy seller volume. We're also seeing a lot of heavy, basically bearish pressure, which is why these bars are red. And so we want to see how this plays out. But I do think that this is going to come down and tap down here the 50 cent sort of zone, 50.33 sort of zone. And if we lose that, then I do think we're going to be testing down probably to the bottom side of this range, 48. If we lose that, 48, 48.7, 48.5. If we lose that zone, then I do think we're going to be making that attempt on that projected target that we showed, option T, from this right here. We'll just do it a little conservative, which if we lose that, sorry, this would be like this actually, from the breakout, coming down into the 41 cent sort of zone. Are we going to, do you guys think, let me know in chat, let me know in comments down below, do you think we're going to get a 41 cent, 42 cent opportunity on XRP? Or do you think that this may have a little bit of wick to the downside, but we're not going to get that low? This is going to consolidate and then eventually work its way back up. Let me know what your thoughts are on XRP. Now let's go. What else were we looking at? What was next? Link. Time to look at Link. Who are my Link Marines out there? Let me know. I mean, in all honesty, let's go to the 3-day chart because this has kind of been interesting with Link right here. Look at this option J. Let's go suck this down just a little bit. Boom. And then another one right here, option J. We've got a sideways range that we've been trading in since, this is always in my way. Okay. Since May of 2022. Look at this. This has just been setting up a base, baby. Setting up a base. Now this is, is this going to come down? Look, we have an order block right on the bottom side of the support as well as this sort of support where it keeps bouncing off of. And this would be if price were to come back down to 521. Do you think Link is going to come down to 521? Do you think it's going to break below 521? As it looks right now, I mean, it's been 2 years in the making that this range has been an excellent thing to trade. Come up here, rejection, you know, rejection, comes all the way back down eventually and tests the bottom side of this range. This side, this time, it's a little bit diminishing here. It's almost like, I don't want to say, it's almost like we have got a little bit of a descending level there. But we have this order block right above us. So even if we find support where we're at and we bounce up, the levels I'm looking at, the two levels I'm looking at immediately above are this 50 moving average trend signal line here, which is currently at 667. And then the next sort of zone is right up here, this basically 712 region, because we have the point of control. It's probably going to change. Yeah, the 7 to 712, because this is the bottom side of this range. It's also, look, support here. It's also support here. So yeah, 670 up to 715 are the two levels I'll be looking at. If we do push up, likely rejection back down. If we have a smaller attempt or even a rejection from here, I do think we're testing down here into the, I would say 550 at minimum, but more likely coming down here into the 520s, 515 for Link. That's what I'm seeing on Link. Now, we'll talk about higher prices on Link once we get into a position where it looks like it's even going to attempt to break out of this range. 550 order on Link, Sawtooth Hiker. Right on. Right on, my friend. What else were we looking at? What's the next one? Yeah, guys, we're getting through a lot today. I like this extra 15 minutes. You guys like this extra 15 minutes so we can really get into the TA? By the way, if you like more TA in the afternoons, 3 p.m. Eastern time, we do all TA the whole show. So I look forward to seeing you there here on BitLab Academy. If you're not yet, if you're watching on one of the other channels, make sure you head over to youtube.com/@BitLab Academy. Join us here. Join our team. Join our community. And also, if you haven't yet, if you want to understand how it is we can break down these charts, how it is we can look at candles and look at candle patterns and understand indicators, head over to bitlabacademy.com. Join us here. And remember, we got everything for 30% off right now. We got a great deal going on. Where's that graphic? bitlabacademy.com. You can use on BitLab Pro on the All Access or on the BitLab Trading Stack. Use Give Me 30 for 30% off. In order to get to the BitLab Trading Stack, you just come right here, bitlabacademy.com, BitLab Trading Stack. Add it to your order, add it to your cart. And then once you put in your email address, proceed to billing, and that's where you put in the coupon code. It'll get 30% off your first month. But remember also, if you sign up for the BitLab Pro, you get everything we got, the premium Discord, all the courses, every course that we have, as well as the BitLab Trading Stack. And this is about 30% off every month automatically because we bundle it together, lower the price, but you can get an additional 30% off your first month if you sign up for this using Give Me 30. So let's jump back into the charts. We got quite a few more coins that we want to look at. Got to share the things we're working on. Got to share the things that pay our bills. Got to make sure that I can still pay my rent. So I don't like doing the shills, but I want to let you guys know what's available to you if you want to learn how to use everything that you need in this market to navigate it and make money in this market. So what was the next thing? Quant, I think, was on there. Was it Quant? We got to look at AVAX too. Let's first look at BNB, because BNB has been struggling. Okay, we're sitting there at that 215 level. And the reason why this is such a big thing lately is because look at this gap. This is a massive gap. This is let's go the opposite direction. 334% gap. Let's go the opposite direction. If this were to lose this level, coming down to this level here, that's a 79, 80% drop if the floor falls out from BNB. That would have pretty big impacts, I think, on the broader space as well. So we need to pay attention to that. In terms of where it's going right now, who knows? Because there's a lot of speculation and questions about Binance propping it up by selling Bitcoin and et cetera. But this is sort of the level right here, 181. It's kind of line in the sand. If we lose this level, we maybe a little bit of deviation down to 160, the bottom of this order block. But I do think that if we lose these 180 and the 160, I do think we're going to have a pretty strong drop on BNB. So just be patient, protect yourself. Protect yourself, don't wreck yourself. You know what I'm saying? Now, coming up to what we want to look at, it was Quant, right? Where is Quant? I don't know. Let's look at AVAX first. AVAX been on a little bit of a, not the struggle bus, but it's been doing some work to remove drawings. Okay. We're on the 3-day. Let's get down. We know what the macro is on this. Let's look at the midterm, smaller time frame. Okay. Man. So that's previous price action low. This also bounced here. Now we can come right here. We lost that zone, which is a little scary. A little scary, especially if you don't have a plan, right? So got a little bit of a bounce there. Now, conflicting signals like a mother. We got a lot of bearishness here in the trend fuel on the 4-hour, but look, we have a bullish divergence right in these zones, but we're getting we had 6 bullish divergences right here. Look at that. RSI, money flow. Couldn't hold though. Too much pressure on the market. Came in, got rejected on the weekly VWAP, came down, getting rejected here on the dynamic resistance zone, 20 EMA. Come down, pushing up. We broke. This is nice. We did break past the trend signal line, but look at this. We're getting rejected right here at the order block. I'm telling you, these order blocks are freaking magic. Getting rejected. If we cannot hold this level right here, basically $10, if we cannot hold $10, I think we're not only going to be testing back here to 960, but potentially moving lower. That's a little scary for AVAX holders, but let's look at the bigger picture and where it could be going and the partnerships they have and integrations and potential things with Amazon and how fast I mean, it's a great project. So if this goes lower, I'm a buyer. Now, if this is able to hold here and push up, I do think we're going to have a little bit of trouble here at the 1042 region, 1042 to 1046, all the way really up to 1057. So if we cannot, we really want to see what happens if this region directly above us, if we can push through here. And then if we do sort of, find some levels that we're going to be, looking at interest levels based on previous price action. So this is not looking relatively strong. We do have a bullish divergence here, as well as a buy, a bullish signal here from the price action. But this is a very precarious situation because we're finding rejection. I mean, this looks like it's probably right about the 0.5 or the 0.618. Look at that. Where did that tap into? Golden pocket. Golden pockets give us that information. AVAX under 10 is a steal, Crimson Caravan Company says. Yeah. All it means right now, who's right? WRIGHD. For the project that survived is fire sale. That's right. So we want to really watch this zone right here. Now, this could be the start of a push to the upside. But we got to, look at this. Option F, top to bottom. This is coming down. If this is holding, look at this. The trend signal line's right here, right in line with where the 0.5 is. If this does dip a little further, 996 is basically right in the middle of the golden pocket. So this is kind of the line in the sand. If this loses this, we're not only going to test here, I do think potential consolidation, but this, everything's feeling like it's still uncertain. If Bitcoin starts moving and the altcoins start getting pulled up, then I do think that this will, potentially come up and move up. But this is looking like it's still sitting here on the struggle bus. And this is only increasing momentum to the downside. So I'd be a little bit patient with AVAX right now. What we're looking at, Quant was the next one. Look at this, order block range. Look at that. This gives us an idea of the levels to watch. Look at all this we're on the 2 hour. Look at all this red right here. Look at all this red. Stochastics overheated, RSI is angled down. Momentum's trying to move up, but that's a little bit lagging. And yeah, golly. It's trying, look at this. Bears took it past the weekly VWAP. The bulls are trying to suck it right back up towards it. If we can get back above it on this hour closure and 34, this 2 hour closure on 30, maybe we do bounce here and move up. If this body, the body of this candle continues moving down, we may have a little bit more of an issue here. But this does look, it's not an inverted head and shoulders, but it has some of the characteristics. An attempt down by the bears. A deeper attempt down by pressure down by the bears, but we also have a W formation here. Another, these attempts by the bears, and the bulls are just eating it up. So that this feels like an absolute battle between the bulls and the bears. Now, do we have a bit of a trend line here? Option T. There's a little bit of one. Is this a rising, ascending triangle? Flat bottom? But not quite, because we've got this right here, symmetrical triangle. That's the zone we're looking in. If we lose this level here, which is 99.08, next level down I'm looking at is down in the 97s, 97.75, 97, this sort of region right here. If we lose that, I do think we're coming down into the 95 zone on quant. ICP, let's look at ICP. ICUP. Got the range right here. We have order block right below us. Order block perfectly in order. Order block perfectly in line with where, look at this, the weekly VWAP and the trend signal line is right above it. So I do think ICP will see price come down into the zone 348, 347 to 350. If we lose this level, then I think we're actually moving quite a bit lower. But we do have a bit of a trend line here. Look at that. Trend line's also in line with all this information here. This is giving a potential that this comes here and bounces up. And then if it does bounce up, we'd be looking at this level right here, this previous high, which is 365. I got a little bit of a ding in my ear. What was the ding? DGen Tolam, Rick Wilson. Kelly, do you think it might retest 28K before a serious move down? A lot of things I've mapped out are pointing to at 17 to 18K for Bitcoin. Well, let's do our last bit of TA here. Let's look at Bitcoin. Let's see what's going on here. I'm on the 2 hour chart. Look at this. We've got this range almost defined by these order blocks. And this is just, look at this, taps down, gets rejected down. I mean, this is now, let's go to the daily. Daily, there's a lot of bullishness in the daily. If it were to push up, you said 28. 28 is right where this trend signal line is right here, right in the middle of this order block as well. So I very well could see, and also that would be right about where the, I think, would that be like the 786? Yeah, 786 will be above that. Golden pocket is right at 27.7 to 27.9. So I very well could see a push up here, bull trap, and then rejection back down. It all depends on what the catalyst is to get us there. If it's a short squeeze, because a lot of people are going short and they get pushed into liquidation and we get a fast move up into the zone, not a lot of strength in buying, not because people are choosing to buy, they're forced to buy, cover their shorts, then I do see this coming up here, setting up for potential for further downside. If this works its way up here, has a small rejection down to like the 0.5 and then continues its way up, then I think it will be moving up. It all depends on what the path to the price action is. Is it healthy or not? That's what we want to pay attention to. So as it stands right now, if this does push up, of course, we have this trend signal line that's going to be right at that $28,000 level that you're talking about. And it's also the golden pocket. So once the price action gets there, and depending on the speed at which it gets there and the path of which it gets there, then I'm going to be taking some profits on a trade that I take up to this region and leaving some on the table with a tight stop loss that if it does reverse and come back down, that I can still realize some profits from this move up, but also protect myself because if it were to capitulate back down. But that's what I'm seeing. I love each and every one of you. I just want to remind you, if you want more information on how to read these charts, how to navigate the space, what Bitcoin is, what blockchain is, how you can look at on-chain data, how you can read indicators, make sure you head over to bitlabacademy.com. Use that code, give me 30 for 30% off any of the different products you want to get. Join us. We got a great community. We've got a killer Discord with all kind of different stuff in here, sharing all kind of different things going on in the markets. Great community again. Now, and again, if you haven't, make sure you're following us over here at youtube.com/@BitLab Academy. Everybody, I love you. Make sure you're following me over at Kelly Kellam. You can see my name right here. And make sure you're following the BitLab Academy page right here at Academy BitLab. I love you all. I appreciate you all beyond what I could actually express. I love doing this on a daily basis with y'all. I'll be seeing you all at 3 p.m. This afternoon. And with that being said, 3 p.m. Eastern time, I'll see you there. Adios. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for always tuning in. Hit that like button, sucker. Head over to bitlabacademy.com. Get yourself educated. I'll see you there.